Hello, everybody. Welcome back. So, our project today is a cooling rack for bread and biscuits and pies, or my version of a cooling rack. And I want it to be sort of a country style one of wood. The countertops in my own home are butcher blocks, and we have a beautiful big country style two-plank table. So, I wanted it to suit everything else in the kitchen when we're baking and cooking. So the first thing I start off with is I cut a blank of the two base pieces that I need. And I'm using the box joint jig here that I made earlier, and I'm trying to use it to make a few projects. So you'll see a few projects being done with this. A box joint and jig is an easy thing to make, and you can use it. It's a great fastening tool. So I've cut the blank, uh, which is double size, but I ran all my joints right through it, and then I'll mark right and left. And so here I am just cutting in half. This is better than trying to cut two independent ones and run it through. Now they're perfect all the way through. So I'll just run that through the big bandsaw. We'll get it cut in half, and then I'll take that over. And what I want to do is give it a great big wide arch. And how I do that is I just run a T-line, put my board on top, and I'm about 44 inches long on the string. And I've measured down a inch on the outside corners, and then and I put the board right in the center. You can see a center mark there in the center of the board. So I put the boards in the center. And I only draw one out, and once I get the this one cut out, then I'll just self-impose it onto the other one. And then when I'm sanding them, I'll clamp them together so that they're the same. You can see the box joints. And when you're cutting anything that has voids in it, it's always good to cut it on the face down on the bandsaw. So there's the inside of my shop. I'm just going to look for some spreader pieces. I want fir to match our countertop and stuff. So the bottom piece is spalted maple. Here I am just sanding them, and I'll just sand to the line, and I'll take that off, and then I'll marry the two of them together and make sure that they have the exact same arch. There's the two pieces that I found, and that's fir. So I'll be cutting these slats out of those. And here I am just, so whenever I cut them just a little bit oversized, and then I can run them through my drum sander and get the exact fit. So here's a dry run. I just snap them all in. And what's nice about the fir, when you leave it out in the sunlight and everything, it'll turn a beautiful deep orange. And so I'm just putting a 3/8 round over on the edge. It's not a full 3/8, so I've divided that in half. So it's just basically an arrowed edge. And that's just on the top of the board. I want the bottom squared. So here I'm gluing them down, and the glue that I'm using is Type-On 3. It's waterproof, and there's no screws, no nails or anything in here. It's just a joinery and glue. So there they are. They've been all glued up. And as you notice, I had a square there too. You want to make sure that your two pieces that you're putting this into are parallel and square to each other. So this is the next day. They've been glued in. I'm just running a piece of tape there, and I want to follow that same arch. I've let them run wild, so I've let them run an inch past. And what I keep is old air compressor hose for when I'm drawing patterns and stuff, and because it's stable enough to be bent and used in between nails. So I followed along to the original arc that I had there, and I'm just cutting it off in the bandsaw. And you got to be careful when you're cutting this, because when you cut through a plank, then you sort of automatically want to push the saw back into the blade. So I just got a grip on the other end, and I'm just slowly going through. And I'm leaving the ink on the tapes. Then I'll take it over to the sander and I'll sand back to the mark. But I want the outside of the boards to follow the same arc as the base. And I've left a half-inch leg on either side of the board too. I didn't want it flush. I thought it looked nicer with those legs hanging out. So here I am just sanding it up on the horizontal sander. And I'll just sand back to the line and then check it. And I'll do that to both sides. And this is a great tool for that. You can see it there. And you can see that I've left the bottom legs hang out a bit. And, I just thought that was a nice detail. So I'll just go over this now with 120 first, just to aerosol the outside edges and the cut marks. If you notice, it's good to have good sharp blades on your bandsaw. Then I sanded it down to 180, hand sanded, and now I'm coating it with mineral spirits. Mineral oil, not spirits, mineral oil. And that's all I use on anything that's going to touch food. I don't use any of the commercial stuff available or anything. Mineral oil has been used for years and years. They give it to children to help them with their digestive systems. So it's good for that. It'll be good for cooking surfaces. So if you notice behind me, on my left-hand shoulder there's some fur that's aged. You notice a nice orange of it. That's my a built-in cabinet that I've got there. And this fur will really turn a nice orange when it's out in the sunlight. It usually takes about 6 months, but it will have a beautiful sheen to it. And that's all this will get, is a real thick saturation of oil. And you can see as the oil goes on it, it goes deeper in color. I'll just give that a real coating. And I'd like to thank everybody for subscribing to the channel. We're getting up there. We're getting close to our mark that we need to be supported by YouTube. So thanks a lot again for making this channel helpful. And if you have any questions or suggestions on anything, please send them along. I'm always happy to answer you. So this is the next day, and I'm just wiping off all the excess, and you can see the fur behind me there, and that's how it'll turn a natural oil orange on its own through time. So I'm just all getting in between, using a nice clean cloth. And what I'll do is just use a carpenter's pencil and wrap the cloth around it to get between the grooves. Just thought I'd show you some pictures of our harbor. The boss and I, that's Kaylee. She's a Chesapeake Retriever, 2 years old. She's my buddy, so we just go down the harbor at lunchtime for our walk. I live on Vancouver Island, so this is the French Creek Harbor. And these are salmon boats. So if you like coastal pictures and stuff, here we are going for a walk along the pier. So that's an island out in the background there. Well, thanks a lot again, and thanks a lot for subscribing. And if you haven't, please do. And here's the finished product. Bye now.